You know who made it.
High Level is a full CRM and marketing platform, and I've used some of the best in the SaaS industry. And we are live from LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, not Twitter. I always still want to say that, even though it's been X forever now. But we've got Instagram going these days and YouTube. But we are live on Revening's Wednesday. Welcome to Wednesday, Revenue Party people. We've got our hot topics and our hot guests that we'll be getting into. Let us know, where are you tuning in from? I'll try to look at the right camera because I'm using a different one these days. And let's hope it doesn't like move around because it's not really secure. But anyway, yes, this conversation is about you. So please make sure to let us know where you're tuning in from. What do you do? What industry are you in? So we can make sure to make this conversation relevant for you. But before I introduce you to our very interesting guest, who we were just talking about boat shows pre-show, which I was like, we've never talked about boat shows on this show, but sounds really actually cool. I digress. But yeah, so today I want to make sure that you all are delegating. This is something I know I need to do, but I'm working on doing it a little more with Cherry Assistant. So I work with Cherry Assistant. Cherry Assistant helps me find all of my VAs who help me with all of the work that you see that we do for myself and for our clients. So all of the graphics that you're seeing here, they basically, like once we create it, once they're able to go in and just duplicate it and help keep the process flowing. And they work in multiple industries. You'll see at the ad that we play in between all the topics during the show, some like a totally different industry that they're helping as well. But you can find talent overseas that is able to help you scale your business. And that's what I've done. And I'd like to encourage you to do the same. So you can scan that QR code or reach out to me via email, jesse@reveting.com, and I can send you my affiliate link. Would love to help you get started with Cherry Assistant. And of course, be sure to check out High Level. So in my coaching program, when you sign up, you get access to High Level. High Level is a full CRM and marketing automation platform. And this is what we're serving people on. So when you are getting services from us, we put you on app.reveting.com so that we can build your landing pages and schedule your social posts. But really, app.reveting.com is just high level white labeled. So we would love to show you how to white label it. Or if you don't just want to white label it, you just actually need a CRM and you need help with it, we can either coach you through it or do it for you. So just reach out to us. If you scan the QR code and you get the 30-day free trial, reach out to us. And, I want to give you at least 30 minutes of my time to help make sure that you're set up for success. Because if you're signing up with my affiliate code to get started with High Level, then I would at least want to make sure that you're successful. But it's only $97 a month. So it's not even that expensive compared to a lot of the other B2B and B2C CRM and marketing automation platforms that you find out there. I digress. Let's get into our amazing show. I can't wait to introduce you to our amazing guests. Welcome to the show. We've got Annie Cole and Emily Taffel. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Hello. Absolutely. Well, in good old-fashioned Wednesday style, we want to know your full life story from birth to what brought you to now in 2 minutes. Could we start with you, Annie?
Yes, sure.
Let us know.
All right. So, birth story. I'm on the West Coast. I'm in Washington State, and I was actually born here. So, always been a West Coaster. Grew up in a teeny tiny town. My graduating class was actually about 60 people. So, that's how small of a school I was in. And then went off to school. I always thought I want to help people. So, I wanted to study psychology, become a counselor. That has transitioned over time. I still have that root of wanting to help people, but actually became an academic advisor. I've been a social worker. I've been a researcher. And then most recently ended up in a vice president role for a startup and just fell in love with the business environment, the startup environment, learning how to work directly with the CEO to just make a business run and do amazing things with business. So this last year, I actually founded my own business, Money Essentials for Women. And what we do is help women reach their financial goals, but we're not a traditional financial center. So unlike just focusing on investing or budgeting, we try to help women at the fringes as well. So we do coaching, resources, events related to career. So how to climb the ladder, how to ask for promotions. We talk about finances. So how to invest, how to budget, how to set up a high yield savings account. And then we also talk about side hustles and business. So how to launch a business, how to scale a business, all the things you can think of. If it touches on women and money, we talk about it. So yeah, I personally have fallen in love with the marketing side of business. It's so critical. If you want to make sales, you have to have people coming in the door. And to get people coming in the door, you have to know how to put yourself out there and market yourself. So that's what I'm here to talk about today, is truly how to lean into how to get leads and how to market yourself, and some specific strategies that I'll get into more later today.
That's incredible. I love all of those topics. Thank you so much for bringing them to WinsDay, and also for just sharing your story and a little bit about you. You did it under 2 minutes. I'm always impressed by people who are able to do that. But I'll hand it over to you, Emily. Could you tell us your full life story and what brought you to today in 2 minutes?
I can try. So I am originally from Albany, New York. Grew up in Connecticut, so moved around a little bit. Came down to Florida when I was in middle school, and I went to Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. Thought I wanted to do theater, so my whole life I was into acting, theater, all of that. But when I started at University of Miami in the theater department, they needed somebody to do public relations, and I said, "Sure, I'll try it. I'll try whatever. Let me know what I have to do." Started reaching out to media and realized I loved it. So realized that PR was my passion, switched schools, left University of Miami, and I went to Nova Southeastern for international business and marketing. So completely changed things, fell in love with every aspect of marketing and PR. Out of college, went to work for an amazing firm, very small PR firm, Haber and Quinn, and worked there for 10 years, learned everything I know from them. And we did boat shows. So we worked on the Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show, Palm Beach Boat Show, Miami Boat Show, a lot of yachting clients. And it really gave me a great deep dive into the world of luxury marketing. So went from there over to a company called RBB PR down in Miami, phenomenal PR firm. Did a ton of event clients there and really learned about immersive marketing and experiential and things you could do with technology and stuff like that. Left there, went to a luxury hotel company and learned the hospitality side of things, doing marketing every single day for an entity that was completely changing all the time with their restaurants, food and beverage, high-end hotels. And then I started Mugsy. So 13 years ago, Mugsy PR opened. Opened it with a great business partner. She's now moved on to another entity. But my husband, when we met, he actually did graphic design, photography, videography, and we've expanded Mugsy into what it is today, which is a full-scale PR and marketing firm specializing in experiential and luxury PR. And that's it.
I love that. Thank you. In under 2 minutes.
Right, 2 seconds to spare. Look at that.
That all sounds so interesting. So, okay, can you both tell me, how do boat shows fit into all of this? All these.
So I was, my background really is in boat shows and yachting. We do a lot of different clients now, but most definitely the yachting world is where my foundation came from. And I just found out that Annie went to her first boat show recently.
Yeah, and my experience, so my husband actually, he inherited a boat from a family member quite a few years ago and started sailing when he was in, I think, late 20s, early 30s. Gave it up. And then when we got married, we decided to invest in a boat. So we bought a boat, spent a lot of time on a boat and just thought we want to learn more about this world. And so ended up at the Miami Boat Show just a couple weeks ago. So fun that we both have that in common.
We probably walked right past each other.
Yeah.
Incredible. Well, this is going to be an excellent episode. I can already tell. Let's get into our first topic, which is marketing strategies. And you have to have a marketing strategy. Like I see all the time, we talk to companies and they just want to jump right into the tactics, right? And you're not going to be successful if you don't look at your strategy, but specifically testing to find your ideal audience, because that I personally find to be one of the most common problems, that they just don't have the right audience. There's no product market fit. But could you please talk us through this? And I know we talked about this in depth, but I believe this is your topic, right, Annie?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's so many directions I could go with this. You know, when we're talking about testing to find your ideal audience, there's who is your audience. So you want to have a really clear avatar is a term that a lot of time is used. It just is a fancy term for who is the ideal person that you want to work with. So your avatar might be, you know, a woman in her 30s for me, who is mid-career, knows a little bit about her finances, but wants to learn more, maybe has a retirement account, but wants to know more about investing. What are those person's thoughts, daily behaviors? You know, those are all the things that make up an avatar. But what I actually want to get in today, when it comes to testing to find your ideal audience, once you have your avatar, there are a million different ways you could connect with that avatar. So, you know, we've been talking about boat shows, for example. Are you going to physically go to boat shows to find your people? When it comes to the online environment, there are so many ways you could connect with your people. And I think a lot of folks just pick one thing and they don't realize that there's so much out there. So let me give a few examples. Let's say you start your business, you set up a website. Are you having people come to your website and that's where you're connecting with clients? Are you going on social media? Are you going on Instagram or are you going on LinkedIn? There are two very different audiences there. The people that hang out on Instagram want something different than the people that are on LinkedIn. Are you creating an online group? Are you creating a school community or a LinkedIn or a Facebook group? Are you going on podcasts and telling your story and people are listening through podcasts? Are you getting media features in outlets? Like for me, Go Banking Rates is a big one. So I write for Go Banking Rates all the time. People who are reading that then learn about me, learn about my expertise, and come back and find me, go to my website, connect with me. So when you talk about finding your ideal audience, you not only want to have that avatar, but you want to decide where you're going to go to find those people. And I think a lot of times, again, people skip that step and they don't realize how much is available to them.
Yeah, totally. So what would you add to all of that, Emily?
No, I mean, you just gave a lot of good information and I agree. I mean, people who are not, as you mentioned, that the biggest issue is finding your right audience. The best place to find your audience right now is online, right? And that's a given. I think micro segmenting down from even that and like testing, like talking about testing to find the right audience. Like for us, for instance, we work a lot with ultra high net worth clients. We're looking for media and for buyers who are ultra high end, high net worth. But that segment is huge. Like it's a smaller segment than some others, but it's still a humongous segment in itself. So we have to look and really micro target down in those segments as well. And I think that works for everybody, like really targeting down to a small niche and then marketing directly to them with your messaging, with your assets, with everything, your website, your avatars, your everything. And really focus and funnel down to that niche audience. You're going to find yourself more successful than when you're marketing to the masses overall as well.
Yes. Do you mind if I add something to that?
Absolutely. Wanted to apologize about the sound in the background. That was my phone. There goes my camera. Go ahead, Annie.
Yeah, I think I'm so glad you brought that up because even, you know, in the financial realm, for example, there are tons of people who are, you know, 30-year-old women that are mid-career. That's great. But also my messaging a lot of times is going to get even more niche. So for example, think about someone who is in debt. And then not only someone who is in debt, but where they're at in their debt journey. So the person that has, you know, credit card debt that's been stacking up for months, this is the moment where they wake up in the morning and they think, today is the day I'm done. The message that you post online about you've been in debt for, you know, 6 months now, you're ready to finally make a plan, you're willing to do anything, let's jump on a call today. It's not even the avatar and the niching down. It's also the exact timeline in their story of their experience. I mean, there's just so many pieces you can break down. So I love that you said that, because getting more specific, it's just going to resonate even more deeply with the person's exact experience.
Yep.
Yep. Absolutely. And you can get super specific these days. I mean, one of my clients is a consumer data exchange platform, BDEX. I talk about them on here a lot. They do a live stream and I'm on their show. So, I mean, they have, I think, 5,000 segments on data. So you can like really go in to understand like what platforms are they on? What are they watching on TV? I mean, like, do they have pets? You know, different things like that. And then you can take machine learning, which is basically AI that continues to learn based on the data to fine tune your audience. So there is data. And in my newsletter today, I was just quoting a MarTech article that came out yesterday about, I'll have to find it. I don't have the link handy, but I cite it in the newsletter, and it's about data and how the best marketers right now are really focusing in on their first party data and honing in on their audience, truly like taking this avatar thing to a whole nother level where they're really diving in to fully understand more about them, but also not being creepy too. That's kind of a fine line. But I don't know, on that line, anyone from the audience have anything about marketing strategy and testing to find your ideal audience, and what else you do to test to find your ideal audience? Because you really you can do so much market research. You can invest thousands of dollars in market research. You can also just go into some private Facebook groups and like try to find your niche that way. But like, how did you guys, like when you were first getting started, like how did you find your niche? Like where were you going? Like what groups were you in?
So I can jump in on that a little bit. When I first got started, and I joke and I say I'm wealth adjacent, right? I am not wealthy. I'm not somebody who can buy a multi-million-dollar yacht, right? But I knew that that was the market that we had to target. So the question was, like how do you get ingratiated into this group of people when that's not necessarily like your group of people, right? And so I think as a marketer, being able to dive deep into somebody's brain and know what they're thinking and know where they're finding but when you are not part of that segment, how do you do that? So as you mentioned, well, I started about 20 some odd years ago when there wasn't all the social media and things like that. So for me, it started with networking groups, lots of trade shows, lots of networking groups, going to the boat shows, going to the bars near the marinas and chatting with the people and really just diving into the industry as much as possible, right? And even on that end, again, like I said, there's the same person who can buy a $50,000 purse is not the same person willing to spend $50,000 on an experience and things like that. So getting to know all those different segments got way easier once social media came out. And now, yes, I use all the groups and LinkedIn, use a lot of the groups on LinkedIn as well. And I've also found that asking, like literally just simply asking the people who are your customers, where they're networking, who are they talking to, where are they finding their people? They're, your vibe attracts your tribe, right? We say that all the time. That's our marketing thing.
Totally.
Where are they finding their people? And
Yes.
really just tapping in and asking. And we have found that to be super useful as well.
100%. Absolutely. Okay. Well, let's transition. Let's change gears. So, Emily, I know you were just talking, but to keep you rolling here, let's switch gears into immersive marketing and how to engage and convert. So, if we figure out our audience, let's say, to some way you have their attention, so now what? Can you take us down that next level?
Absolutely. So yes, once you have your audience and you know exactly who you have to market to, for me, I find that immersing them within the brand. So targeting, we used to say it's targeting the senses. And when you had real life events and things like that, that was great. You still want to translate that, but you want to immerse them in the digital realm as well. So there are so many different ways that you can do kind of these immersive activations, techniques, things like that. We're seeing it a lot with QR codes, right? People use it a lot with QR codes. AR is humongous. So augmented reality, where you can actually open like a digital portal to your brand's world and enter people into that. And a lot of people think that things like that are extremely expensive. And so one of the things that I really try to stress to my clients and to everyone when we're presenting is there's actually apps and platforms that are free that you can build out different types of applications that can help to immerse your audience without any cost whatsoever, without knowing how to code, without anything like that. We use a program called Go Brunch, and they don't pay me. I love them. Go Brunch is amazing. It is a free platform. There is paid aspects as well if you want to move up in the levels, but anybody can create an immersive environment. So for instance, I work with a vodka company, and it's called Yacht Life Vodka. They're one of our clients. And for people who can't come on board the yachts when we do events, for people who aren't in the area, media particularly, but truly anybody who wants to experience what we're doing at the events, we created a yacht on the platform. People can enter into it. It feels like you're walking on board a regular boat. It's your avatar, your digital avatar that's coming on board this boat. You go to the bar at the boat. We have a yacht bot bartender. He can walk you through the different cocktails that we make with the brand. And it just immerses people in a new way. And I think that that is so important because we can expound news to people all day long. We can give you stats all day long. But the minute that somebody starts telling you a story and really immerses you in what they're talking about, it is a scientific fact that the neurons in your brain start firing quicker. The dopamine, which is like your brain candy, it's what tells your brain like, this is good, I love this, I like this. They fire, you get so much more dopamine when somebody's telling you a story. And that helps you to remember what they're talking about. So being able to immerse people within the story is only going to help them remember your brand messaging, the stats that you want them to remember, the information that you're trying to impart to them. And it's done in such a cool way. And then you tend to get more media coverage, influencer coverage, people posting on social media, things like that, talking about your brand, creating the conversations because they were so immersed. They have an emotional connection to it. So now they want to tell people about it. They want to help spread the message. They want to tell other people, go try this, go scan this, go to this event and be a part of this. And so to me, it's one of the most impactful forms of marketing that we have right now.
I love that so much. And you're right, in terms of like immersive marketing. But before I say any more on it, Emily, what's your take on this? I'm sorry, not Emily, Annie.
Yeah, I love that. I have not done anything to that level, but I absolutely think that's incredible. And for folks that are listening that want to do it on a simpler level, I think video marketing is where it's at. And a lot of us are already putting out video. We're doing talking heads, we're doing reels, we're doing YouTube videos, we're doing stories on podcasts. But if you aren't, that is such a simple way to give people an immersive experience. So two things that I do. Number one is a lot of storytelling about my own life. So one thing, my story is I started off as a social worker making $26,000. I was able to create a 1 million net worth by the time I was 35. And now I'm headed towards early retirement in my 40s. So I will talk a lot and show videos of my actual life, which is only working part-time, and sleeping in, doing things that are truly like, that is the dream for a lot of people. And that truly is my life. And I don't do that to brag, but I do that to say this is possible. And that is so immersive for people to see that and think, wow, I want that. And this is how I could potentially do it. So just telling stories that way, I think is really powerful. But the other thing you can do, give people a sneak peek into something they're getting. So I actually have this new membership that I'm launching. And today I'm going to be recording kind of a behind the scenes of what the membership is and show them on my screen what's in the vault, what are the events that are coming up, give them a video tutorial of what it's actually like to be a part of this membership so that they're not just reading a page, they're actually seeing what they'll get. And I agree that video, that interaction gets people so much more excited.
100%. Yeah, we help with video. That's one thing that we do. We have clients, we do how-to videos, we do a lot of talking head videos, especially with like live streaming, because you're having real conversation. A lot of time your customers will show up and then they put you on the spot and then you have the CEO answering something. That's really good content. If you're vulnerable enough to like put something out there like that, but it tells a story. It's like, it creates that human connection like you were talking about. And I loved your example, Emily, of, what was it? The vodka for yacht clubs, or what was the title of the brand?
Yacht Life Vodka.
Yacht Life Vodka. It's like the perfect marketing story because it's like you took something simple, like vodka, and you gave it a name and you gave it a story and you gave it an experience. And that right there has value and people pay for that and they want to be associated with it. So then they're socializing about it on, probably TikTok and all the other channels. Was there a particular channel that you found successful?
Yes. So for us, it's 100% actually been Instagram and with reels and things like that. TikTok was less successful. Just simply, we found our audience on Instagram. So we've had a lot of success on that. And to the thing that was most successful is, for us overall on the social media side has been influencer marketing. So getting the vodka into the hands, like we say, liquor to lips, right? Getting people to try it and having them creating their videos to create cocktails that they want to make and dishes with the vodka and things like that. We actually are working on launching this week Yacht Life Caviar, which also pairs with the vodka. And so reaching out again to creating that storyline, that narrative. So those people who had tried the vodka are now the same influencers that we're working with for the caviar and being able to pair those together with those influencers to put out new recipes and kind of just creating that narrative ongoing with their audiences also. So it's not just reaching out to our audience, but to the audiences in a real authentic way with them as well.
Looks like we got a question from Layla. So this says, how can small businesses create immersive marketing experiences without big budgets? What would you say to that?
I can talk on that all day long. So that's one of our favorite things to do. I think really knowing your audience is the key to that, though. So you have to ask yourself, where do they need to be immersed? What is it that is going to speak to them? Because you don't have a big budget, so the budget has to get stretched in the best way possible. So as I mentioned, there's a lot of platforms. Annie was saying too with video. Video is a completely free way to immerse people. So turn the camera on, talk to your audience, talk to them about it. Take them behind the scenes, show them how something is manufactured, ask them questions. People actually really, really love to be involved in the process. So I just mentioned, like, we're doing Yacht Life Caviar, and the lid of each kind of caviar has a different color. And it coincides with a yacht that was designed by a yacht designer. And we started asking our audience, what color do you think this lid should be? And engagement goes up. They're immersed in the process. So video is free. It's easy to pop up. Go lives on LinkedIn, Instagram, anywhere, any social platform you can go live. Lives are great. It immerses your audience in what you're talking about. And at events, one of the things that I love to tell people to do is really start to, there's 1.8 million events in the world. So if you're going to do an activation, make sure you are focused on the right activation for the right audience. And again, I can talk all day on that, but a lot of people just do like, a photo spot, and people will take pictures and they'll hashtag it and they'll put it up, and that doesn't always work anymore. So you have to make sure that you have the right thing that's speaking to what your audience is already looking for. It's the age-old solution, age-old marketing situation of find a problem, be the solution, and you have to do that with the immersive marketing side of it as well.
Be the solution. Don't be the problem. No, I'm just kidding. So one more question before we transition into intermission, but was also curious if immersive marketing could work for B2B or is it mainly B2C? Love this question, Layla.
100% it can work for both. Annie, if you want to jump in on that too, but yeah, absolutely. I think it works for both.
Oh yeah, I would agree. I think start with a very clear avatar and their problem. So instead of being, a consumer, think about another business and solving their problem. So their, a business problem might be a little bit more complex, but it's going to be the exact same strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to hear some ideas or people in the comments who've done that before. If you're watching this show later on or listening on podcast, email me at jessie@revetting.com if you've done this in marketing. Looks like we have another question we'll hop to real quick before intermission. What's your number one goal in conversion from top of funnel marketing to close sales? Secondly, for Emily, what would you recommend for people who want to increase their net worth? And what's your next step to retiring?
Okay. Well, Andy, that's probably a better question for you of people who are looking to increase their net worth. I can tell you how we can bring more clients into a firm and increase your firm's net worth, right? But I think, Annie, that's a great question for you.
Yeah, this is my bread and butter. I could talk about this all day long. So there's really, I'll just go through super fast. If you're thinking about your finances, there's really 5 steps. So number 1, you want to have a clear vision of what you actually want to achieve. So do you want to just increase your net worth so that you have money? Do you want to have that money for retirement? Do you want to have it wrapped up in assets? Do you want it to be liquid, which is cash? So have a goal first, and then create a budget to know how much you need to be bringing in to have extra available. And then number 3, create income streams. So that can be either through trading time for money, which is a career, or through business. Or the biggest thing you want to do to create income streams is actually create leverage. So things like a business where you're not actually trading your hours for money, you're maybe running a business or overseeing it, and then leveraging other people to help them run the business so that you are extracting a profit. The more you can do that and create income streams, the more overall income you create. And then number 4, you want to grow that money. So the more you can invest, and most people are going to invest in the stock market, that will grow on average your money by 10% every single year, which compounds. You can invest in real estate, you can invest in businesses, you can invest in gold, Pokemon cards, all kinds of stuff. And then number 5, you want to create a lifestyle that's creating sustainability around that. So I would say among those 5 things, your vision, your personal budget, your income streams, you're investing in your lifestyle, which is the one that you can tap into most right now and focus on that. And then overall, that will help you increase your net worth.
That is really good information. I'll have to pause that and go back and rewind and save that, everyone. That's really good. And great question, David. But Emily, there was a second part for you on there. What would you recommend for people who want to increase their net worth, and what's your next
step? I had said I think that was more of an Annie question on that end, because she just touched on ways to increase your net worth. For me, my next step to retiring, I'm actually working on what Annie's talking about. So we're hitting 13 years. We have a great team here at Mugsy, and really working on ways to delegate more work to the team. So I'm more managing the team and not managing so much of the work. And that's been quite a process, because clients are used to having me very hands-on. So my next step to retiring is managing the financial side of things on that, so that we can afford to have other people doing the work. I'm managing the work, working a little hands-on less.
I love that. And with that, it is time for intermission. I'll be right back right after this quick message from Cherry Assistant. This is who I was talking about at the beginning of the show, who they help businesses delegate more. I, of course, need help with that. And I'm constantly working with Cherry Assistant to help me find talent that is, associated with what I need. So like video editors, for example, I need specific video editors who have an understanding in LinkedIn video. But then sometimes you'll have a client who focuses on Instagram, but they're able to go find that for me. And not just that, but in other industries too. So here's an example of that.
This is Mike, also known as Clean with Mike on Twitter. Mike hired a virtual assistant from Cherry Assistant about 2 years ago. Now he has a $50K per month business, fully managed by a remote operator in South Africa. His VA from South Africa does the following: closing inbound leads on the phone, Yelp and Google and Facebook, manages his CRM and Go High Level, deals with rescheduling, cancellations, any issues, hires and manages the cleaners, and sends them daily reports and updates. Mike has a fully cash flowing business managed by a remote operator for only $8 an hour. You can also hire a US equivalent worker in the Philippines, South Africa, Latin America for a fraction of the cost with Cherry Assistant. Be like Mike and grow your business with offshore staff.
Okay, so here are the services that they offer. You can scan that QR code, or like I said earlier, if you want to get connected with Cherry Assistant, just email me if you're on podcast, Jesse@reviting.com. But they help with lead generation, CRM management, prospecting assistance. We've got sales presentation preparation, data entry, customer support, project management assistance, and so much more. But yeah, definitely check out Cherry Assistant. I've had a really great experience working with them. And also want to talk a little bit about High Level for a moment. So I was telling everyone earlier that I use High Level and I coach on High Level in my coaching program, which I should share right here. We have another QR code if we can pull it up for the workbook. So I have a free workbook that you can download, and there's some videos associated with it to kind of help you get started. But that's more overall branding. So it had like a how-to on build an avatar. It was mentioned earlier, like you should build an avatar. Well, that's just a guideline of like 1, 2, 3 things you should consider. But also there's a little introduction of high level in there, getting started with high level, and you can just sign up on your own with my affiliate link. But what I've used high level for is my automations. So text messaging, email, my newsletter that went out this morning went out from high level. All of our posts that we do for myself, as well as for our clients, go out from high level. And there's so much you could do from it. So you can white label it. You could adopt one of their features, like their AI voice bot, and really learn that and then just resell that and use some of these marketing tactics like they had with like vodka, right? Just package it up, give it that experience, give it your special personal brand, and then you resell it under your name. So that's really the awesome part of high level. But I digress. I'm curious, what are both of your like favorite CRM marketing automation platforms? Like, what are some of your favorite tools that you use?
I can go first. So I love System.io. I actually have gone through quite a few different platforms, but when I was first starting, I really wanted to create online courses. I have a background in online course creation. So I tried Kajabi and I did really like Kajabi, but I would say System.io is great because it has a course building platform. It has a community building platform. It has a CRM, email system, affiliate program. It's a great all-in-one. So I know there's a lot of great ones out there. I think System.io is probably similar to Go High Level, but yeah, it's my favorite.
I haven't heard of that one. I have heard of Kajabi. A lot of people like Kajabi, but how about you, Emily?
So we've actually, with some of our clients, we've used System.io. Also a big fan of it. Love System.io. Kajabi we did a few years ago, but System.io is fantastic. So big fan of that one. For us, we use quite a lot. We use Buffer a lot, but that's on like the social media marketing side of things. We use Later. We're actually switching. We're looking for a new mail CRM. So if anybody has great suggestions on email marketing, we're really looking for something new. We've been Zoho is another one that we use quite a bit. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Before high level, we used Buffer. I used to love Buffer. It was like one of my favorite tools. So like if you don't want to, if you're looking for a free social scheduling tool, I'd say Buffer is probably the best one out there.
I would agree. Yep.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, let's get into topic 3 and learn a little more from both of you. So media coverage. Ooh, this is a good one. How to land your first feature. Annie, could you kick us off?
Yes. And I love media. I'm sure Emily can talk a lot about media too. So I'm excited to hear what she'll have to share. But media has changed my business. I worked with a PR agent when I first started and then have continued to take the reins after our contract ended. Just recently worked with her to write up a case study. And we realized that through media alone, I was able to get 44 different published features in major news outlets and reach an audience of, I think, 650,000 eyeballs with those media features, which is incredible. So I'm not someone, I use social media. I have a small following. I've been able to convert a lot through that following, but media has been just so much bigger as far as reach. So when it comes to landing your first feature, there's a couple ways you can do this. So number one, when you think about PR and media, you want to think about what your story is that you're telling. So sometimes you want to get your own feature, a story about you or your business. But a lot of the time you're just talking about your expertise in small ways. So I think earlier I mentioned Go banking rates. You might have a writer who's talking about debt. So I might share some expertise about debt. Someone's talking about budgeting, holiday shopping, student loans. You're going to a lot of times follow the lead of a writer. So either number one, you can find an outlet that you want to be a part of, like Go banking rates, and then specifically look up the writers and do your own outreach, basically pitch yourself to those people. Number two is kind of an interim. So I really love this option. You sign up for a platform like Quoted. It's QWOTED. And it's a place where writers will actually put on the platform what they are currently writing about. And they'll say, I'm looking for experts that can help speak to this, pitch me. So you're pitching yourself to someone who's actively writing an article. So it's a higher chance of getting a successful acceptance. Or number three, most expensive, but less of your time is going to be just hiring a professional And that person, the benefit to them is that they know the process and they also have connections. So a lot of times they can get you in the door to some of the bigger outlets. Like I got a feature on Business Insider. I currently am working with my PR rep to get onto Good Morning America or a big TV outlet. They're going to have the connections and the kind of those backdoor communications to be able to advocate on your behalf to get you onto those platforms. So all three are great options. It really just depends on what level of media feature you want to get and what you want to get out of that media feature and the time and money you have to commit to it.
I'm so glad you mentioned Quoted. That must be where we all met, because I love Quoted and I find a lot of guests there. And for my clients, I find guests on Quoted.
Yeah.
I
We
love
also
Quoted.
love it.
Yeah, it's a really great platform. But we had one more question here. So David's asking, is this the CRM you're referencing, System with an E at the end .io?
Yes, that is it. And I think if you're on the pricing page, I will also mention they do have a free trial. And I used the free trial for quite a while. You can use it up to a certain amount of contacts. It is wonderful. So especially if you have zero budget and you're just getting started with your business, great place to start with just the free trial.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that. But back to like press a little bit. So press has really changed. In 2006, I was an intern for Senator Durbin. I was a press intern. And what we did back then was basically we would write clips, like little stories, and send them to these little, I was an intern, so I wasn't going after New York Times or anything. I was just going after like, I don't know, Eldridge County, Illinois, trying to get in whatever local newspaper they had to get them to write about emerald ash borer, and so we would write a story and they would literally like copy it, paste it, and put it in the newspaper. And I was blown away by that. At 20 years old, like being on Capitol Hill, like, really, they're going to take this from the senator, like completely partisan, and just like paste it and put it in there. But I don't know, that to me was my early experience with PR. And now these days, PR's really kind of changed and stayed similar in many ways. Like I've seen kind of the like progression of B2B PR, where for a long time we were putting things on the wire and like hoping for people to hear back from it. Now it's like you put something on the wire and it's like crickets. Like you might get a bunch of impressions, but really you have to build that relationship. And at the end of the day, you need owned media, because it's so hard to get that earned media. That like building your owned media will help you get built. Has that been all your experience too? And also, like, how would you explain that transition? I know I've seen throughout my career, and I never really did full PR. As I always helped. I was like a startup marketer, so I always got thrown into it. But I wasn't like at a PR firm. Never like did PR as like a profession. But could you just like talk to us a little bit about like why has it changed this way? And like also, what do you think about the whole earned media part? Do you think it helps you get the owned media? Owned media helps you get earned media?
Emily, do you want to speak to that?
Sure. So yeah, I do think it is definitely harder to get earned media these days. And a lot of media outlets have now gone to kind of a pay for play format where you're paying for the coverage. So whereas years ago, you might be able to send your pitch in and be part of a roundup for free or things like that. There is, now a lot of those roundups are paid for, top 10s are paid for, things like that. Not everywhere. There are still outlets where they separate your earned and paid media, but there's a lot more crossover than there used to be. I do agree 100% that the best way, the only way I would say to get media, because you got to remember these reporters are getting like hundreds of thousands of emails every single day. So you're competing against every single other pitch and story and everything that's coming out to them. And the benefit of working with a PR firm is, yes, we have the relationship. So they recognize our email addresses. They know we sent them good stories before. They know we're reliable. So they go towards our emails first. But if you're just starting out and you don't have the relationship, my biggest tip to anybody, because of the way that things have shifted, go to social media, because every major news outlet has a page on social. You can track to see what stories they're covering. You start to see who's writing those stories. And then you can find those people on social media as well. And the best tip I can give to anybody is don't just pitch the reporter first. Go to their social media, start to see what they're writing about, comment on some of their posts so that they're starting to see your name on social. And don't just think of major magazines anymore either. You've got your magazines, but every major publication, TV show, newspaper, everything has an online component as well. And then you have podcasts, you have blogs, you've got all of that. Some of the podcasts and blogs even get bigger reach now than some of your major media that we're all used to talking about. So you can expand your reach just as easily with a smaller sized podcast with a humongous engagement on their audience where they're sharing things than you can sometimes of having those wires or those articles lost on the back page of like even a Wall Street Journal or something sometimes. So again, it kind of brings us back to know your audience, know what they're reading, pitch directly to what your audience is going to be reading, know the reporters to a T. I mean, Ali Wolanski, I don't know if you're all familiar with her. She's a reporter. She writes on lifestyle stuff, food, beverage, hospitality, travel, yachting, everything that we need in our clients. And she loves the royal family. Everything she posts on social media is about England and the royal family. So when articles come out or I see fun facts or I see a new picture of Meghan Markle, I send it to her because it builds up our friendship and our relationship on social media as well. So when I do pitch her, it's you're not just asking favors of a stranger, because what we're doing is really asking favors, right? Please write my story over everybody else's story.
Right.
Please cover my stuff. So if you're asking somebody a favor, it's a lot easier to ask somebody a favor when you've spoken to them before. And it helps if you're speaking about what they're already interested in. So I say get to know them, like know your audience, know where they read, find the reporter who writes about what they're reading or listening to, become friends with that person, and then pitch them. And you're going to see it's so much easier to get that coverage.
Yeah, such a good point. In a lot of ways, like pitching reporters is a lot like sales. You got to like, you can't propose on the first date sort of thing. You got to like, get to know people.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. Any more either of you would like to add on media coverage before we get into our last topic?
But I saw some question pop up and they said, is there ever a bad time to write? There is never a right or wrong time to start pitching yourself unless there was a major news story or tragedy that just happened, in which case do not pitch yourself that day. But beyond that, I mean, like that's my big tip to everybody too. Pay attention to the news. When you're about to send your pitch out, make sure that like it is okay to send the pitch on that day. And there have been horror stories about people who have sent things out. There was most recently one actually that I read where it was a fire starter kit that sent their pitch out on the same day that all the news was coming out about the LA fires. And I'm like, don't do that, right? Like, don't do that. So read the news, know what's going out there. Even if you have pre-scheduled, get up earlier than your news is supposed to go out and just check the headlines for that day. And I beg everybody do that. But other than that, there's never a bad time to start pitching yourself. Like you are your best advocate. You're the only person who knows how to tell your story the best way. Start telling your story, pitch it out there.
Yes. And that's the one thing I do remember about working on press a little bit was waking up so early. Like the press people are up and they are reading the news and like writing the news way before even the early birds are up. But I digress. Let's get into this last very important topic, luxury marketing strategies. So we've talked about marketing strategies. So tips to attract high-end clients.
Yes.
And I know we heard a little bit about this on the Money Talk a little bit, and that's something I need to hear. I probably need to raise my prices. I know I need to like stop doing work based on time. But let's talk about this as a luxury marketing strategy. Could you kick us off, Emily?
I can. And I think, all right. So when people think about marketing to a luxury brand, to people in the high net worth profiles, I think that a lot of the times we tend to stereotype that market. So I think number one is really understanding what the luxury market is, right? What is the luxury market? Who are the people within it? What are the businesses functioning? And what is it that's setting them apart? And what we're finding now, like in 2024, 2025, people are looking more to be immersed, to have experiences. It has become less about what you're actually, and this is the same in any kind of marketing, right? It's less about what you're purchasing than the relationships, who you're purchasing it from, the stories and the identities that you are able to connect with within that brand, within the client that you're looking for, anything like that. So on the B2C side, we say you have to create the brand desire, the status. You have to be able to look at where you can elevate beyond what everybody else is doing. but it doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be something that, you know, is your typical luxury marketing, because it's still human beings. So even though it's high-end brands, it can still be done with a sense of humor, with some kind of interest and excitement to it. And so, like we used to say on the event side, nobody wants to go to another cocktail party, right? And it translates over to any kind of marketing. You have to figure out what's new and what's different that's going to reach this market. And this market is a market that is used to the best of the best. They're used to being able to have things very customized and bespoke and made to order for them. And so that's where we really focus for the marketing, is we start to look and say, how do we personalize this marketing? Technology helps with that quite a bit. It goes beyond just putting somebody's name into an email, of course. So like, how do you really customize directly so it feels like I am talking direct to you? This is done really well in retargeting. We see it all the time where we joke and we're like, oh, our phones are listening to us. Same thing on the luxury marketing end, just a higher level of that. So being able to tap into the conversations, and not in a creepy way through your phones or anything, but through data, through your statistics, things like that, tapping into the brain of the people you're trying to reach, and really personalizing the messaging that's going out directly to them. And again, there's a lot of apps we use for that. There's a lot of technology used for that. There's a lot of partnerships for that. And I'll give you a great example really quick. We mentioned before Yacht Life Vodka. Great product, very high-end luxury. But the brand wanted to be able to partner with other luxury brands for media purposes, for marketing purposes, things like that. And so we partnered the vodka with the yacht, and we created a specific version of the vodka just for that yacht. No other yacht in the world has a vodka that is created just for that boat. That boat itself is a charter yacht. So in order to try the vodka, you have to charter the boat. The boat is $185,000 a week, base level, just to charter the boat. Therefore, making the vodka the $185,000 super yacht sip when it came to our marketing. And now we were able to not just market a vodka brand, but now it's a full story. It's a possibility of immersion, of getting on this boat and being immersed in the world of Yacht Life Vodka on the boat. The new vodka was called Yacht Life Vodka Alta, named after Yacht Alta. And now we're creating Yacht Life Caviar, and the boat will have its own version of the caviar as well. And so the co-branding kind of went from there, and it really helps to attract more of those luxury clientele. And again, it works on B2B, B2C, but it really comes down to honing in on the people that you're marketing to in the end, and not stereotyping who they are.
Stereotyping, which, happens a lot. That's easy to do. But I love the co-branding idea with the caviar. That's going to be awesome.
We're very excited about that.
Yeah, I'm going to stay tuned. I want to see updates on that.
Yes.
But before we go, we only have 6 minutes. This always goes by so fast. I want to make sure that the audience hears about your gurus of the week. So we got the guru of the week. Let me make sure we pull this up, and I'm going to pull myself out. Could you both please tell us why you chose your guru of the week and why we should go follow him on LinkedIn? And if you are still watching on LinkedIn, be sure to tag these gurus in the comments to give them some.
Yeah, I can go first. So Jamie is someone who is a part of my network and also my coaching directory. She's just such an expert when it comes to side hustles, business, career, anything in that realm. Check her out. Her information is wonderful. Her advice is great. She's just a great person to be connected with.
Awesome. And mine is Captain Kelly Gordon. She's one of our Mugsy PR clients, and she is one of the most badass, amazing leaders that I know. She speaks across the world on authenticity and leadership and being a vulnerable leader, being a female leader, and she is absolutely incredible. She's also one of the only female captains who is captaining the size of yachts that she is working on, which is incredible. She's breaking barriers for females everywhere. And she recently launched a nonprofit, which is going to help fund mental health therapy for those within the yachting industry as well. So definitely go follow her. She's incredible. I think you're muted. Yep.
I do that a lot. So thank you both for sharing such interesting guests. I tagged at least one of them in the comments. I'm going to get the other one here in a second. Her name on LinkedIn, is it real? It's really Captain, what was it?
Captain Kelly Gordon.
Captain Kelly Gordon. I love that because
Yes.
she is a captain. That's so
The
boss.
captain.
Okay, sweet. Well, before we go, then we want to make sure that we also get your information because people who might be listening now or on podcast later may want to do business with you. So could you tell us a little bit more about what you do, who you serve, and if you could possibly help them, how could they reach out to you? We'll start with you, Annie.
Sure. So when it comes to marketing and business development, I would say definitely go to our website. The most resources are there. So it's money-essentials.com. Again, we help women reach their money goals through either personal finance, career, or business. So we have tons of resources, but if you just go to the top line menu, click on business, you'll see everything there from how to set up your LLC to marketing strategies to client generating strategies. Truly everything is right there. And then on Instagram, I'm at Build Wealth with Annie. And then on LinkedIn, I'm Dr. Annie Cole. We also have a Money Essentials page on LinkedIn. If you just do a quick Google search, you will find all kinds of stuff from Money Essentials for women. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Incredible. Well, thank you both so much for coming on. It's been a really great conversation. But Emily, I just realized I didn't get to you too. We want to hear how do we reach out to you?
Yes. People can find me across the board at Mugsy PR, MUGSYPR.
But we want to know more than that too. Like we know that you do PR, but like your full story. So like who you serve, you know, what you do, and if that resonates with them, then how could they reach out to you?
You got it. So
short.
Yep, we do public relations, social media marketing, and experiential and immersive marketing as well. We love creating activations and events and social media excitement for brands, everything from small businesses up to major corporations. So we cover the gamut. We do specialize in film, entertainment, yachting, marine, hospitality, luxury lifestyle. And you can find us at mugsypr.com. So most of our information is on the website. Mugsy PR on LinkedIn, and personally, I'm at Emily on the Ave on every social network as well.
I love that. Emily on the Ave, so easy to remember. And I loved all the marketing ideas, especially the yacht one. And then the whole money thing, Annie. I think that's going to resonate with a lot of people in my audience, especially I have a women wave community of 150 plus women in sales, marketing, business ownership. We're all in a WhatsApp group. It's free. We'd love to have you there. But that's a topic that came up last year during the retreat was maybe next year we need to talk about money. Because we're building brands, we're building personal brands, we're doing the deep work, but then you need to manage that money. So let's go with that. So thanks for bringing that to the table. And thank you both again for coming on the show. And everyone next week, we hope you can tune in. We will have Amy Kaplanek and Drew Yancey. I hope I didn't say her name wrong because she's all over LinkedIn, actually. If you look up Amy, and she's super interesting. So I'm really excited to have both of them on the show. But again, thank you both so much. And we will close out with a video. All right.
Thank you.
Grab me. Of course. Bye-bye.